It is week 11 of PFR on Lakeshore Public Television. Tonight we get you ready for sectional semifinal football. We look at our game of the night, check out at our players of the week, and a lot of one-sided matchups again tomorrow night favoring your picks.
well, last week, I'll tell you, Morton played very, very well and was able to win that one.
Yeah.
Kind of an upset there.
There was one.
Yeah, there was one. But yeah, I thought that last week pretty much went to
Chalk.
Yeah.
All right. A lot coming up next. The PFR Rewind and much more coming up on PFR.
Who is the dark afraid of? His name is Tim. When you report a power outage, Tim and linemen like him respond to the call. Text OUT to 444-111 to report an outage. With your cell phone, when the power's out, power is still in your hands. Support for PFR and PFR Scoreboard is provided by Geminus, partnering for the future.
It is week 11 of PFR right here on Lakeshore Public Television. We get you rolling. What were some of the things that stood out last week, Wayne, in week 10, getting us ready to week 11?
Well, I think that, teams that like a Munster, who had a huge battle against East Chicago coming up. Coach Marsh said, if we can limit our turnovers, we were going to win. And boy, did they.
They played a really clean game right when they needed it against the Mustangs here in week 10 of the high school football season. Let's look back at the highlights of week 10 on this week's PFR Rewind. Ready for our players of the week for week 10 of the high school football season, as we're losing some teams now, but not losing some players of the week. Let's start with our offensive players of the week for week 10. It could be the Dustin Lindley Commemorative Award for this year.
Week after week, he's been playing very well for Hanover, 130 yards, 4 TDs versus Hammond. And this next young man, Andy Karstensen, we've heard of him from Highland. He had 200 yards, 4 TDs versus Clark, and he's got a big proving game for him against Munster.
Yeah, it is a big revenge game for Highland. They were embarrassed in their first meeting against Munster and Andrew Jumonville. They get a second shot at some respectability tomorrow night. Back at Highland again, I think, where it was the first night. So,
yeah, it is. And kudos to Jumonville, boy. He really played well against EC. Teely Ryan really stepped it up for Andrean this week against St. Joe's, 125 yards and 2 TDs. And Gaddafi Coleman,
that's going to be one of the great matchups tomorrow night, is the Griffith-Rensselaer game.
Yes.
I think that's going to be an outstanding matchup. Andrean, New Prairie. We'll see if North Newton's competitive with Whiting. But that Griffith-Rensselaer game, Wayne, I know you'll be disrespecting the Bombers here shortly tonight. But
Rensselaer has an excellent team. They've been playing very well. I don't know, Joe.
All right, we'll see. How about the defensive players of the week?
Hey, we like Jordan Jusovic, 26-yard pick six against Westside for Lowell. And Griffith's defense caused 9 turnovers versus Glenn. You don't win very many games, you turn the ball over 9 times.
North Newton's defense has been tremendous all year. Even the game they lost to Hanover Central,
right?
They played pretty well defensively. They had a big shutout against Bowman. They're going to be tested again against Whiting tomorrow night. Special teams players of the week.
Cameron Crow from Griffith, a 53-yard punt return and a 59-yard interception
These guys could have doubled as unknown players as
know.
well. Anthony Perez.
Highland, 60-yard punt return versus Clark. And Jager Gill from Lowell, 23-yard punt return versus Westside.
Jager Gill, he could be on the all-name team
Yep.
too. Nice name there. Sam Ehrlich, who had a big night for Hobart.
Big night.
He is one of the unknown players of the week.
That's right. 1 fundable recovery for a TD, 1 pick six versus South Bend, Washington.
And Bon Scott Young, he's definitely a all-name team guy and unknown player of the week.
I keep thinking of Bon Jovi. I wonder if he can sing. 100 yards and 1 TD. And then Michael Aguilar from Lake Station had a beautiful night there.
Michael Aguilar with a big night, rushing, passing TDs, as the station was, from what I'm understanding, the station was a little ticked off about having to deal with the red check mark last week.
Oh, really?
Could have served as a motivator en route to their victory last
Good.
week.
If it helped them, that's great.
They weren't thrilled to be being picked against by the check mark lane. That's what the underground said. How about our little 5 for this week?
Knox, again, ahead of that little 5 with
Could be
North
on a
Newton.
collision course with Whiting.
That's right. And Rensselaer playing well, 7-3. South Central under the radar. I think they're 7-3. That was my mistake. They are 7-3. And River Forest at 4-6.
Yeah, South Central, a heavy favorite tomorrow against North Judson.
Right.
And that North Newton Whiting game again will be a tremendous one. How about our top 10? The only poll that matters, Wayne, right here on PFR. Lowell's fighting their way back.
Yes, they are. 6-4. Griffith 7-3. People look at this and say, wait a minute, EC just lost. Why are they still in this poll? Because they beat Griffith. And, so they are 8-2. And they've had a great season, I'll tell you.
They did have an excellent season.
Valpo gets to play Penn tomorrow. Beware, Penn. The number 6, Hobart.
That's going to be an interesting game, Valpo.
Yeah, it will. Yes, it will. If LeFleur is playing healthy, it will be. And Whiting playing very well right now.
Hobart's the quietest 8-2 team in the state.
Yes, they are. Hanover Central, number 4, still the only undefeated team in Northwest Indiana.
We'll see later on tonight, Wayne, that Coach Radke's aware that Hobart's 8-2.
Yes, he is. You better believe he's aware. Portage comes in at number 3, having a great season. Michigan City at 2, and then the number 1 team is Port Slicers.
Slicers.
Yes.
Maryville's got some work to do to get back in that poll.
Yes, they do. And they can start this week against Portage.
Yeah, that'll be interesting. That game.
Yes, it will.
Maceo with big plays, and Portage has really come on and improved and had a tremendous year. And we'll see how they handle the favorites role in the sectional game at home.
It's one thing to be the underdog.
Yeah, it is.
But being on the top dog, we'll see how they handle that.
All right. It is time to take a timeout. When we come back, T-Dub will visit with a familiar face to PFR and high school football in Northwest Indiana. Our game of the night is next on Lakeshore Public Television.
For more information on everything Prep football, visit us on Facebook or on Twitter at PFR Sports.
Joe, Wayne, we're at Andrean to take a look at the Andrean New Prairie second round sectional matchup. And we're going to talk to a guy who is in the playoffs in his rookie season as a head coach and has a ring on his finger for winning a state championship not too long ago. Chris Skinner joining us right now. And first off, inconsistency this year, but the good news is second week of the playoff season, you're still standing.
Yeah, I mean, the guys have been great all season. There's just, I think our youth has showed at times, and we've made mistakes in critical moments in some big games, and unfortunately that's led to some losses. But, when we have everything clicking, we've done some really good things. So hopefully we continue to do that. We did that Friday night. We had that consistency on both sides of the ball, so hopefully that continues this week.
What did you see outside of consistency? What played into that consistency Friday night?
I think we got strong play out of our defensive backs. We kind of made some tweaks defensively to our secondary, and I thought they played really well, which allowed our front 7 guys to kind of attack the line of scrimmage more. South Bend St. Joe had a really good running back, and outside of 2 carries, he had 2 carries for about 110 yards, but all the other ones we kind of limited them. So I thought that really helped in keeping everything close in the box. So that was key for us defensively.
Of course, Andrean versus Russ Rantke has been a long rivalry. As a matter of fact, I'm sure you remember when you were a player how that went. And now he's coaching New Prairie. That's your next opponent. How do you attack him?
Well, first of all, they're phenomenal at what they do. Obviously, at Griffith, they had a ton of success, and then he goes over to New Prairie, and they continue that success. Offensively, they're good at what they do. Their line does a great job of getting to the next level. Their quarterbacks are always consistent. They always know how to run the offense and read the offense. So defensively, it's about doing your job.
Before we make the long trip to New Prairie, I got to ask you, confidence-wise, and obviously we're talking to you during the early portion of practice week, but confidence-wise, where do you sit with this football team?
Well, I feel good about their mindset and their attitude. We lost 2 tough games at the end of the year to Griffith and to Lowell. We had an opportunity to win conference or hold a share of it, and unfortunately we didn't capitalize on that. So I didn't know how their mindset would be after that, but last week they came out and they had a great week of practice. They were able to refocus, and obviously we'll see kind of how it goes today, but I don't see why that would be any different.
I never had a chance to say congratulations to you on the state championship win as a player, so let me say that now, and good luck on Friday.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Okay, that's our first look at Andrean versus New Prairie. Now, we have to take the 60-minute drive out to New Prairie to talk with Russ Rantke, their head coach. And we're at New Prairie to take a look at the Andrean New Prairie sectional matchup coming up on Friday, and we have a very familiar face here, Russ Rantke, the head coach of New Prairie. And how do you like it out here so far?
Well, I'm very appreciative of the community and the administration all wanting to have football. And we're having a great time, and our youth programs and all the way up have all decided that football is a major part of their sport and their lives. And the community working well. We're going to see a great crowd here Friday night. And altogether, it's been a exciting time.
And of course, you had a lot of fun last week against South Bend Riley. I think 42 points on the board last week. How impressed were you with that game for your ball club?
Well, it's tough also playing a team the second time. So we had to play them twice and earn in our conference. So it's a battle here in South Bend that we're outside playing all these 4 South Bend schools. So it was great. The community was there too, but again, like I said, it was you can't do anything you think you're going to do the first time, the second time. So as a result of that, they were able to come out and shut us down for a while, but we have to do things during the game that provides us an atmosphere that gives us a great chance to play a great football game.
What do you expect from Andrian coming up Friday?
Well, it's going to be a very physical game that their defense has really kept them in the games. Some games they haven't won because of not being able to score at certain times, situations. I feel they've worked on that well. They did a great job against South Bend St. Joe last week. They're really coming on, doing what their responsibilities are. And then as you just pointed out, the atmosphere that Andrian's going to give us on defense is something we haven't seen for a few weeks, so we're going to have to readjust to that.
You versus Andrian has always been a big-time rivalry, especially when you were coaching at Griffith. Are you a little more pumped up about this as opposed to any other opponent?
Well, if we happen to win this one, we're going to have to play Hobart. If we happen to win that one, we're going to play Munster or Lowell. Sounds like I've heard of those teams before, too.
Welcome back to the 219.
So all the things together, we're trying to play this atmosphere and get this community up to that level, play with the physical responsibilities that are important, and play like you are in the Doolin or in the Northwest Crossroads, and play football the way it's supposed to be made. That's a lot of smash mouth up in front, play football the way it's supposed to be physical, but enjoy the game. Don't get me wrong. We still enjoy the game. There's no chaos. The game is completely clean. It's an atmosphere. It's exciting. But boy, when the game's over, both teams shake their hands and really enjoy how well it's done.
Coach, wish you the best on Friday.
It's going to be something good, and I hope that everybody that gets a chance can come out and see it, and appreciate you guys driving over here and getting us a little coverage ahead of time.
Piece of cake. All righty. Okay, Joe and Wayne, you know your job now. Who wins this matchup on Friday?
All right, good to see Coach Radke and Coach Skinner.
Yes.
You know, it's those old players get older, but we don't win.
Yes, that's right. This is going to be a good one. You know, Coach Skinner said it very eloquently that Radke teams, you know, are very fundamental, you know, and they run that wishbone, which is very tough. I don't know if they call it now the flex bone, but whatever.
Yeah.
But they know their assignments, and that quarterback runs it well. Their nemesis, New Prairies, has always been, same as Griffiths when he was there, turning the ball over.
Yeah. And there already is some familiarity, of course, with these two teams playing during the regular season, a game that New Prairie won, but it was a very competitive game. Andrian has been inconsistent, but there is some talent there. You would think a team like that would focus more in the postseason. They've been in the postseason, deep in the postseason for so many years. So that was definitely something that you could have seen coming last week, beating South Bend St. Joe, but they'll have to step it up a notch against New Prairie because they've got an excellent ball club as well.
Andrian needs to score first and score on any turnovers that New Prairie gives them.
Andrian, a little bit like Munster, their offense cannot put their defense in bad situations.
Right.
They can't turn the ball over or throw interceptions where they give New Prairie a short field. I think those are some things that have plagued them. As Coach Skinner said, they had a chance to win a share of the conference championship and didn't get it done against a Griffith team that's been improving, and Lowell, who's been coming back the last few weeks and playing much better football. So let's see, should be a very good competitive ball game coming up tomorrow night with New Prairie and Andrian. All right, time now for the picks, and it's time for Wayne's World.
Well, here's the actual.
There's our records from last week,
yeah.
Wayne.
Yeah.
You, of course, picked all the favorites.
Yes.
As you will do again tonight.
And throughout the rest of the season. I had
All
my
right.
one upset last week.
Okay, yeah, you lost your one upset.
Well, I mean, the one I picked was an upset Munster over EC.
Yeah,
Not
there you
many
go.
people
Yeah,
picked
that was a pretty good
That
pick.
was.
I'll give you that. That was a good pick. I'm wondering if you had any inside information on that,
No.
but that was a good
No.
pick. All right, time now for the rest of the picks on Wayne's World. We start with 6A. They've had the week off.
Right.
2 weeks to prepare.
Right.
I think that's interesting for some schools. Of course, not enough 6A teams as compared to the rest of the classes. That's why they get the week off. And these are teams that are very familiar with themselves as well, and we'll see how they do.
Well,
this
I
week.
really think that the week off helped Andrean more than anything. I think that.
Well, they didn't
I
have
mean,
the week
Andrean,
off.
yeah, okay. I think that Lake Central, because
so?
they had some injuries. Giles is back. You got Williams in the backfield now, and both receivers are playing fairly well. But you know what? This is a big game for Grayson Link, I think, for Crown Point. He played great
Well,
2 weeks ago.
You know, that could be interesting what you just said, because maybe the off week was bad for Crown Point, because
Yeah, that could be.
They had such good momentum coming off their biggest win of the year.
Yes, I totally agree with you. And it's the way, I really believe the way that Crown Point's offense plays could decide this game, because their defense is going to play.
All right, you like Crown Point.
I
Let's
do,
see.
but-
there's the check mark out of the
mark.
gate, Wayne.
Going with LC here.
Well, now, earlier in the week when I picked this, I thought maybe the cold, wet weather could be a factor, but now it's supposed to be beautiful tomorrow.
Yes, it is.
So, but cold weather and wet weather usually tends for the ground game in it.
Yeah.
And with Josh Williams in the backfield, that's kind of the change of pace back now with
Yes,
Giles.
definitely.
LC is more built to run and be physical, but we'll see. I mean, Crown Point had an excellent game defensively against LC the first time. Again, turnovers in such an even game will be such a big factor. And let's be honest, LC has had a bad year last year in the postseason.
Yeah.
They've got big revenge. They lost to Crown Point. They want to get that bad taste out of their mouth for the Crown Point game and last year's loss to Portage.
Right.
They got a lot to motivate them
They do.
tomorrow night.
But it's at Crown Point, and Crown Point has played fairly well this year at home.
And Crown Point is very good against the red check mark.
Yes.
Not good with the red check mark,
Okay.
but very good against
All
the
right.
red check mark.
I think that Portage, this is going to be a tight one too. You know, you said earlier that it's easier to play as an underdog than on top. And
we don't
Portage
know
is
how
probably-
healthy Maryville's going to be.
That's
tomorrow.
right. Will they have Cameron Wright back or not? I don't think
And they would have benefited from another week of practice
Yep.
with a quarterback that
so. Yes,
hasn't
they
played
would
as
have.
much.
Yes, they would have.
But I tell you what, I don't like betting against Anthony Maceo just because
Yeah.
he's had a spectacular
He
year.
really has. He
But
has.
I have to pick 2 games.
So you did. So you don't like it, but you did pick Maryville.
This isn't an ideal situation. Extra week to prepare, I think, is bigger for Maryville. I think they had the momentum stopped for Portage, who beat LaPorte. So
Yeah.
stopping Portage's momentum was big for the extra week. And Maryville's got postseason experience, so I think that could be a big factor for them against Portage. All right, elsewhere. Just a couple minutes left. We got to
I
move
like
on.
LaPorte over Chesterton.
No surprise.
And unfortunately, Penn.
All the favorites here, folks.
Yep. On
Valpo's got a shot to shock the world tomorrow night.
Yes, they are. Michigan City over Elkhart Central, and then Mishawaka over South Bend Adams.
You like the Red Devils starting to roll.
I do. It's at Morton, but they're still the Red Devils, and I like Munster in a close one. This is going to be a close one at Highland.
Don't worry about trying to bait me into taking
Okay.
Highland.
And then I do
You
like
like the
Hobart.
Bricks.
Hobart is on a roll.
I could feel the disrespect of Rensselaer coming earlier. I knew it was coming.
Griffith, I think, is just too quick, and if they don't fumble the ball a lot,
That
this
should
is
be a
gonna
great
good
football
one.
game
Yes, it
tomorrow
should.
night.
Yes, it should.
And you had
Marion,
Marion.
Mishawaka, Marion, yeah. Whiting over North Newton, and I like Knox to continue to roll.
Oh, now you're picking Knox. Okay.
Yeah.
Class 1A
Pioneer.
sectional.
I'm sorry, this one. Sorry, Lake Station, but Pioneer is
Pioneer's
awesome.
loaded.
And I like South Central on this one.
Yeah, taking the favorite there. The Jays have been looking for an answer this
And
year.
I'm looking at New Prairie in that wishbone offense to win this one against Andrean.
Up to 76% finally, picking all those favorites. That could be an interesting game tomorrow night. We'll see if
Yeah, what?
Andrean and New Prairie figures out. We're hopefully going to have a camera there. Should be a great night of highlights tomorrow night. Join us live at 10:30 on PFR School Board, right here on Lakeshore Public Television tomorrow night. We'll see you then. Good night.
Who is the dark afraid of? His name is Tim. When you report a power outage, Tim and linemen like him respond to the call. Text OUT to 444-111 to report an outage. With your cell phone, when the power's out, power is still in your hands. Support for PFR and PFR Scoreboard is provided by Geminis, partnering for the future. Captioning for PFR and PFR Scoreboard is provided by Voice-to-Print Captioning, LLC. Wardrobe for PFR and PFR Scoreboard provided by Gosser Corporate Sales Incorporated. Custom embroidery, screen, and digital printing. Further support provided by Fahrenheit 212 Restaurant and Bar.